Okay, we've talked about how ice caused erosion and deposition. Now we're going to look at this model. In this model, this cookie represents a big rock. And the toothpicks represent the roots of a plant. Organism impact. This is where plants impact rocks or soil. So the cookie is the rock, and on your chart, you're going to draw what it looks like. Where you're going to draw what it looks like before I do anything to it. There's what it looks like before I do anything to it. A solid round piece. And now the first thing I'm going to do is use a toothpick, which represents the roots of a plant, and I'm going to push around the edges of the rock. Here's roots going into a rock. Look. What's happening?
It's weathering.
It's weathering. I like that science word. It's weathering. It's breaking off. Now draw what the cookie looks like after roots or after toothpicks went in the cookie.
After, where it says after.
Where it says after on the top row. Pushing the toothpick into the cookie. Now, on the bottom row of the chart, you're also going to write what it looked like before. You're also going to draw what it looked like before. And before, it was still a whole solid circle. And then you're going to look really closely because on this one, I pushed the toothpick all the way through the cookie. The edges broke off of that one. This one, I'm going all the way through the cookie. If I can find a spot, it'll go through.
That cookie is
Okay.
a hard rock.
Watch.
It's obsidian.
Do you see anything falling?
No sediment.
Yeah. Oh, did you see those crumbs fall?
Yes.
Okay. It's going all the way through. What did it leave? What did it leave? It left a hole.
It's a little alien.
Okay, so after, draw what it looks like after. Don't forget the crumbs that were falling out. It has a hole in it, and it had little crumbs falling. And now we're going to use the data on that chart that you just made. We're going to use that data to answer the questions. I want you to think before you say anything. Number one was, what did the toothpick do to the cookie? Use your science words. Think about it. What did the toothpick do?
It weathered.
Weathered it. The toothpick weathered the cookie. What does weathering mean? Breaking apart. Good. Good. Okay. And number two says, don't say anything yet. Explain where you observed weathering and where you observed erosion in this model. Think about it. Where did we see weathering? Where did we see weathering, Will?
At the sides.
At the edges where the pieces broke off. At the edges where the pieces broke off, that was weathering. What about erosion? Where did we see erosion? Did you see anything moving?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I did. The middle, what was happening when it went through? It's still happening. Look, it's still happening. There's still crumbs moving. There were still crumbs moving when it went all the way through. Okay, and now what was left on the paper plate? Look, what was left on the paper plate? Crumbs. What does that represent? Yeah. Sediment. It represents sediment. It sure does. Or, what's another word here? What's the word for it moved and it dropped in another place? Deposit or deposition. Deposition. And four, what do you think would happen if we pushed a whole bunch of toothpicks through the cookie at one time? It would weather it even more. Okay, while you are finishing those, I'm going to pull up the next. It's a slide we need to look at.